The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. His tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
I know I have to do it. I'm compelled to do it.
I like to make this picture for the wall. I have to do it without much question. I have to get rid of my memories.
I have actually walked through that path and seen it with my own eyes.
For these caged birds, art was their liberation song.
I'm here at the Winnipeg International Film Festival with film director Hilary Helstein from Los Angeles, California. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here in Winnipeg.
You have a documentary feature screening here at the Winnipeg International Film Festival this weekend. It's such an awesome documentary after having seen it at the Palm Springs International Film Festival. What inspired you to do this documentary?
The documentary took about 10 years to make, and what inspired me was the creativity that had come from such a horrific period in history. I was raised by artists, and art has always spoken to me on a very different level, on an emotional level, and I think art crosses all barriers, language barriers. Internationally, it doesn't matter what religion you are, what language you speak, what country you're from. Art speaks to everybody. And I wanted to create a documentary that could reach across all those different boundaries to a greater international community and tell an important story about how artists, in the face of tyranny and death, universally can use their skill set to rise above as a form of resistance and asserting oneself as a human being. And that was the inspiration behind creating this film. As Seen Through These Eyes is about a group of Holocaust survivor artists who created artwork in the camps and in the post-war period as a reaction, an emotional reaction, a visceral reaction to their experience. And the artwork that was created in the camp was created by these artists who were either children or teenagers as a form of resistance, as a form of escape, or as a way to stay alive. In the case of one of the artists, Dina Gottliebova, who painted portraits of the gypsies for Dr. Mengele for his medical experiments because he felt that a trained artist could better document skin tones than a camera could at the time. Simon Wiesenthal, as we all know, as the famous Nazi hunter, very few people know, was an artist and created artwork for the commandants as birthday cards or, greetings or sketches, drafts, architectural drafts, but secretly in his bunk at night drew pictures and sketches of his surroundings so in case he died there would be documentation of the atrocities perpetrated on the victims, and also as a way to assert himself as I was here, and this is a continuation of myself and my work. As Seen Through These Eyes is a film about hope. It's about not just the Holocaust, but it is about how, again, universally, human beings can use their creative spirit to cope with trauma. The film is told through artwork that brings these stories to life, not in a horrific way, but in a positive way. Even though you're looking at pictures that are filled with emotion and sadness, there's still something vibrant that comes through because of the use of colors and the life that comes out through the artwork, which is why I chose this approach, to make it a film that is more uplifting while still sad it's filled with hope.
What are your hopes and aspirations for this documentary?
Well, ultimately, I mean, the 10 years that it took, it was not a continuous 10 years, but of course there were many exhibitions throughout the last decade that have been shot, that appear in the film. It was a monumental research project, finding the artists, connecting their stories. I mean, the people that were interviewed lived in Austria, they lived in Israel, they lived throughout the world, and I traveled to their locations to interview these people and capture stories that would now be lost forever. Ultimately, we are traveling the film festivals, and the reaction to the film has been absolutely incredible. The next step is to release it theatrically, and following that, to release the DVD, most importantly an educational DVD. The life that we see for this film, we see that it's going to have a very long shelf life. It's something that will go into museums, into schoolrooms. It will be a lasting testament in archives that will be used for future generations. Right now we're getting a lot of feedback from schools and from school boards that they're interested in incorporating this into their curriculum as part of human rights and Holocaust studies. And, you know, I'm proud to be the vehicle in which I can get these stories out there. There is no formal exhibition of this artwork. It came from private collections. It came from traveling exhibitions. Much of it is tucked away in archives, in museums all over the world, in Poland, in Auschwitz, in the Czech Republic, in museums in Israel, throughout the United States. Very rarely does it see the light of day. It is mostly kept away in temperature-controlled rooms. So this film, in a way, has become a traveling art exhibition, and it is the only way that people can see all this artwork presented together along with the stories of these people who created it to carry on their legacy to the next generation.
We are so happy to have you here at the Winnipeg International Film Festival. I know it's screening one night.
The film is screening at the Winnipeg International Film Festival on Friday, June 6th at 7 p.m. at the Colin Jackson Theatre in the Prairie Theatre Exchange. And I will be there to do the Q&A following the film.
Thank you, Hillary.
Thanks.